You are watching the Doctalk show.
If you have just joined us, we are discussing osteoporosis with a senior orthopedic surgeon from Mulago Hospital, and we want to understand what are the causes of osteoporosis, or in layman's term, what would cause someone to have weak bones. So, Dr. Tito, before we went for the break, we found out, you told us that bones undergo a continuous process of formation versus destruction. It's a natural occurring process. At any one point in time, there is new bone formed and there is bone which is removed.
Lost, yeah.
So what would cause osteoporosis to occur?
Okay, thank you very much, Darius. What we would call risk factors or causes.
The risk factors for this
One,
osteoporosis.
which is very, very important, is the age. As I mentioned earlier, the younger the individual, there is more bone formation and less bone destruction.
In the younger people?
And the younger people.
Okay.
And that's why we see growth is very, very rapid in young age. We see a child who was a baby growing, becoming a teenager. That is the stage when there is more bone formation than bone destruction.
Okay.
And however, when we become older, other factors come in play. For example, the sex of an individual. Our ladies come to a stage where they stop experiencing their monthly period.
What is called menopause?
Called menopause.
So why is menopause important?
Now, in the stage of menopause, our ladies, some hormones which were key in the productive cycle, they get depleted, and this is in particular what is called estrogens. Now, the estrogens are important hormones in a lady which facilitate reproduction, which gives the lady very good looks, shiny face, and also keeps the pregnancy. But we know also the estrogens, they act directly on the osteoclasts, which promote bone destruction through what we call the receptors. Now, once there is estrogen present in the body of a lady, the receptors are suppressed, the receptors of osteoclasts. And once the estrogen is reduced in the body, then these osteoclasts are left free to destroy the bones.
So in other words, the estrogen, the female hormone estrogen, helps to slow down the destruction of bones.
Yes.
Okay, so by working on these osteoclasts, which are the destructive cells.
Now, that means after menopause, our ladies are liable to suffer osteoporosis faster than when they had their estrogens. But also, to an extent, also the sex hormones in men, the progesterone, they also are responsible for maintaining good bone substance.
Okay.
Diet is also a very important factor in the health of our bones. Our bones get strengthened by chemicals called calcium, okay, which we get from diet. However, someone may have a dietary problem, is not taking some of the foods, like a good number of people have intolerance to milk. And yet we know milk and milk products are rich in calcium. Okay. That is yogurt, that is cheese, and others may also be intolerant to fish. Fish is also a rich source of calcium. And also we have some of our traditional beliefs, where some of our cultures used to stop women from taking fish, used to stop women from taking chicken. So there could also be some cultural elements where some people are denied some foods. Soya beans and the green leafy vegetables, they are a very rich source of calcium.
Okay, so if people don't eat these foods, are more liable to have low calcium.
Populations, especially rural African populations, which live on fresh foods right from the garden, are at an advantage compared to the city dwellers who many times take processed foods. What do I mean here? Tinned foods, processed foods, they usually have preservatives. And these preservatives are rich in sodium. Now, sodium in the preserved foods will compete with calcium so that we lack the calcium. It is calcium which is important in bone strengthening, not sodium. That's why it's
so how do they compete? You mean in the absorption process?
In the absorption process.
So in the body will take more of sodium than calcium.
Exactly.
Yet it needs the calcium for the formation of the bones.
So it's good to take fresh foods as compared to processed foods.
And how about the fats? When you talk of processed foods, they always have high levels of fat, sugars, maybe deep fried foods. Can that interfere with calcium absorption?
Heavy fat diet is not good for bones because heavy fat diet will lead us to being fatty or obese. And an obese body, a fatty body, again the metabolism of calcium is interfered with.
Okay. All right, so you've heard it from the horse's mouth. What you eat also determines the integrity of your bones. If you eat too much processed foods or foods that are high in salt, salt contains a lot of sodium.
Yeah.
Does that mean people shouldn't eat a lot of salt? It may interfere with the absorption of calcium.
Of course, too much salt in the diet has many side effects. First of all, it affects the function of the heart. It leads to water retention, and so it's discouraged. So it's not good.
Okay, so there could be other factors that come into play. In particular, the exposure to sunlight. How important is sunlight in bone health?
So we talk of vitamin D. There are many vitamins we buy in the pharmacies, but there is a lot of talk about this important vitamin D, which is closely related with sunshine.
Okay.
Our bodies, we have an inactive form of vitamin D. So this inactive form of vitamin D, to be activated, we need sunlight. We need sunlight. And when we talk of sunlight, this is the real sunlight outside the house, because the rays from the sun which go through may not go through the glass. Even if you have an exposed glass in your house, to activate
in the house,
vitamin D, so that, and vitamin D is very important in the absorption of calcium in our gut. Okay. So without vitamin D, the active form, even if we eat fresh foods, we eat yogurt, we take it will not be absorbed. So we need vitamin D, which we get from the sunlight, which is outside. Okay. Now this brings us to the lifestyle. So sedentary lifestyle, or lifestyle which is too much indoors, is a problem which can lead to osteoporosis.
After the break, we'll come back more to discuss some other causes of weak bones or osteoporosis, and thereafter we shall see if there are ways we can prevent ourselves from getting this very deadly disease of weak bones. Don't go away.
You are watching the Doctalk Show.